This instructional video will explain and suggest different strategies to complete the final summative evaluation garage assignment. So when you first open up this file, which will be attached to the PDF with the written instructions, you're going to have this series of items which I call the lumber pile. For the most part, you're not going to have to construct any of your own wood. The wood here is labeled, and for the most part you'll be able to just use this with a few exceptions. There might be a few boards below windows and above doors that you're going to have to adjust, and I would suggest you use this board here, but that's up to you. Your headers are pre-made. This one's labeled for above the door. Obviously it's going to be above the door meant for people and not the garage door. This header's for above the garage door, and this one's for above the window. We're going to use all these items. We're not going to be importing any other items from the 3D warehouse, just to ensure that it matches with the instructions. So when I mention strategies, there's two different ways. Well, there's two different ways that I see that you could probably create this garage. One would be just to draw it all at once. So I'm going to bring out my stuff, and here's your footing and foundation. Pretty standard compared to what we've done in the past. And then you've got your walls. So we've got our left wall, we have our front wall, we have the right wall, and we have the back wall. Now we can add the doors and windows and the garage door, and we have capboards that go on top that overlap, and we also have truss system or truss boards. And for the most part, this is the assignment. There's also going to be the spacers in here. Let's see, there's also going to be the end boards here. And there's going to be all the accompanying dimensions that come with everything. Okay. So I'm not going to get into the dimensions at this moment for the explanation of the strategies and how to do this. But for a lot of people, they're going to look at this assignment, and when you see the assignment in the PDF, it's going to more or less look like this, except it's going to have all the dimensions. And what some people are going to do is they're just going to say, I'm going to create the foundation, the footing, and I'm going to build my walls, add my doors, add my windows. One part of the assignment is you're going to create the truss over here or over wherever you feel comfortable, and then you're either going to make it into a component, or you could create it separately and import it to this file. And the idea is that you will add it to the top of the house, and you will copy it according to the locations given. In this one, we're going to use this back wall as a reference, and it's going to sit on top of every vertical wall board. Okay? So part of the assignment will be you'll create the truss, let's say over here, and then once it's done, you'll make it into a component and you'll place it here. So that's one way to do it. Okay? Now there's another way that you could kind of look at this assignment, and that would be, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to take some of this stuff away, and we're going to explore the other way to do it. Let's see. So one way you might do it is, okay, so you're going to create the footing, the foundation, just like here. Okay, so you're going to create like that. Some people might even create the walls and everything else in completely separate files and completely separate environments, and then import it as a imported component. So that's one way to look at it. So in the written instructions, you're going to see, let's say for the left wall, I mean, you're going to see the whole thing at the beginning of the assignment, but for the left wall, all I'm going to highlight is the left wall itself and the left wall dimensions like such. I'll just zoom in, and then you'll add your windows and your doors. Now, I'm just trying to suggest some people feel more comfortable creating this, making it into a component, and then adding it to the footing and foundation, or even adding it to another drawing completely. Okay, so those are different strategies. Okay. Now I've got a marking scheme for every single portion of this assignment, but I think I'm just going to look at the marking scheme for, let's say, just this wall. So I'm going to bring up the marking scheme, which I actually have it here in SketchUp. I will include this in the PDF instructions. Okay, so we got our left wall marking scheme, and this is how I'm going to come up with my marks. So length, width, height is 3 marks. Dimensions, do you have them? That's 1 mark. Cap boards, those are the overlapping boards that go over top of all the walls. Are they there? If they are, you get 1 mark. Spacing, so have you adhered to the spacing given? If you have, you're going to get 4 marks. End boards are 4 marks. So you've got these end boards here, and they're orientated correctly. Now, if I bring up, let's say, the front board, or the front wall. So let's bring up the front wall. One thing that will be included, so let's say for the front wall, there is an end board, but there's also what I call this board here, the nailer. Okay, so in the front wall and the back wall, you're going to need that nailer to get all 4 of your marks. So in essence, for the front and the back, you're getting 1 mark per board. For the left and the right, you're getting 2 marks per board. Okay, so they have to be there, and they have to be positioned like this. Okay, if they're there, but they're positioned, let's say, they're twisted 90 degrees and they're going this way, you're not going to get full marks. Okay, so that's the explanation for the end boards. Headers, you're going to get 4 marks altogether, and the headers are supplied for you in the lumber pile. Here's 1, here's 2, and have you put them in, you're going to get a mark for that. And the other additional marks are going to be looking at these boards here. So if you look at this board goes up, the header sits on top of it. Then this other board here goes on the outside, and then this board sits on top of that. So it's almost like it transfers the load right down to the floor. So if you're missing any of these particular details, you're not going to get full marks for the header. So the cripple boards spacing. So cripple boards are these boards here. Okay. And just make sure the spacing is correct. So door and window fit, 2 marks each. So let's see. Doors and windows. We just want to make sure that they fit correctly. So we're going to more or less make sure that they're flush. Okay? There's no overlap. Want to make sure that they're flush on the outside. You want to make sure, let's say, that this doesn't blend into the board, stuff like that. Okay, that's the marking scheme for that. And total marks will be 23. Okay? So that's a quick overview of the final summative evaluation for the garage assignment. I would encourage you to also confer with the PDF file, because of course it's going to give you a much more detailed explanation as to all the aspects of the assignment. This is just a quick overview. Unlike previous videos, this video of course is not going to take you from beginning to end on how to do the final summative evaluation. This video just exists to suggest different strategies and give you a rough explanation of the marking scheme. As mentioned before, all the marking scheme documents will be included in the PDF file. Good luck.